Good? What's good? I'm back. One and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast. We have a guest coming on here in a few. I think he popped up and then popped back out. Of course, it's going to be fight week this coming up week. BKFC 89, Palm Desert. I know a lot of y'all was talking about the MVP fight promotions last night. I tuned in for a split second. Like MMA was born. It was just wrestling on the ground when I tuned in. And the crowd, it was empty as hell in there, man, for all the promotion that they put into that event. I get it. It was probably the first time they did that type of event, but you would have think they would have sold more tickets than that, man. The arena was tremendously empty. Anybody that thought they was going to compete with UFC, that was delusional. That was delusional. I don't know why people think like new fight promotions are automatically going to compete with a fight promotion that's been around for 20 something years, or a fight league that's been around for 20 something years. Let's see who's on Instagram right now. We got Ben Bonner. Shouts out to Ben Bonner. Bare Knuckle Mel. Appreciate you. Savage Combat Sports. My guy Ron. What is up? And looks like our guest. We about to introduce our guest. Let's introduce him right. We'll return. Costa. Let's bring on the one and only Chase Gormley. Chase, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. Just here, ready to go to work tomorrow. So I just get my workouts in today and just try to keep trucking until I get over there.
You ready?
Yeah, I feel in good shape. I stayed from the last couple fights, the ones that got canceled. I just stayed in shape from then because I was cutting from like 300, and it was just taking a lot of toll, especially with all the work I got to do. I'm a sergeant at the prisons, so I have to work a lot. So I just figured this time I'd stay in shape, keep my diet in check, and I feel good. I feel like I got a lot more sparring in this camp than I usually do. So because Susanville, where I live, is a big
So
boxing
I want
town.
to. Okay, I think there's a little lag going on, but we'll figure
Yeah,
it out.
I apologize for that.
Um, so let's start here. It's all good. So you got a high school and wrestling background. You became NAIA All American wrestler. When you look back on those days, what do you remember the most?
I just remember the team aspect of it, really enjoying just working hard every day, and I always wanted to be a NCAA Division I champion, but we all don't make it there. So I just enjoy competition. Even now, I really don't need to fight. I just enjoy to go out there and compete. I enjoy to go out there and to see how I can do and how I can stay in shape. You know.
So, like you took a little break for a while, if I'm not mistaken. What brought you back?
They called me out of the blue. I got to like 330 pounds. I was just working as an officer, getting fat, and they called me and said, "Hey, we got a fight in November. You want to do it?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm probably gonna end up dying if I don't get back in shape." So, and I still had that fire in me. So I was like, "I'm gonna do it." So I told him if I can make the weight, I'll do it. So went from 330 all the way to 265, and here I am.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Um, so tell us about some of your MMA background. I seen you were in the UFC and Bellator, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was in the UFC. I think I went in a little too early. I fought Stefan Struve, Brandon Schwab, so pretty tough fights right off the jump. I just think I wasn't a complete fighter yet. And my home life and work and everything has kind of messed up my training. I should have went to the American Top Team or something like that where I focused on just training. So I think a lot of it's my own fault for not prioritizing my training and my diet. I was just being a young stupid kid, and I think I could have been a lot better if I would have had a more structured training schedule. You know what I mean?
Well, in MMA, it seems like if you make it to the UFC, that's like the gold standard. Like, how hard was the journey or the process of just getting to compete in the UFC?
I mean, actually wasn't too hard for me because I was what, six. I was 6-0 when I got. Well, I think I beat Eric Pele for MFC in Canada. I think I kind of
Okay.
because he had just knocked out Bigfoot Silva, so I think they're okay. This young kid's got something going. So they brought me. I was supposed to fight for Affliction, supposed to fight Bryn Rothwell, but that third fight got canceled, and we all got kind of absorbed by the UFC. So I kind of just was supposed to fight for Affliction and went to the UFC. Like I said, I think I went a little too early. I could have used the 5 or 6 more fights and went with a little more confidence. But I think these are things you learn. I was a young kid, and my biggest problem I think is I've never turned down a fight. And sometimes you got to be a little
Yeah.
smarter, get that experience, get those wins against guys you can beat, and then take chances. I was one of those guys that's like, yeah, I'll take it. Oh, I'll take it. So I should have been a little smarter with my approach.
Well, between the fights that you did have in UFC, which one taught you the most?
Oh, I think well, they both had their own learning lessons. I think with Struve, I should have kept it on the feet. I think I was doing okay with him there. When I took him to the ground, I think I underestimated his jiu-jitsu and got caught in that triangle. So,
Okay.
just little things you can help on with your next camp. And then when I fought Schwab, I should have probably tried to take him down. So I just knowing who you're fighting, and I wasn't big on watching film or like game planning. I would just get in shape and go fight, kind of like a caveman. So now that I'm older, I'm trying to be a little smarter. You know what I mean? A little better approach. At least have a game plan going in.
So you end up in the BKFC. Do you feel like BKFC was the right fit for you to come back instead of MMA?
Yeah, I think my knees started to go towards the end because I was a wrestler. I couldn't take these guys down anymore because my knees didn't have that pop anymore you need when you're a wrestler to get these guys down. So I think boxing is something I can still do at a high elite level. Obviously I lost to Parker, but I think I kind of got okey doked a little bit in that fight. I thought he was still going to be fat like he was in the UFC, and I was like, well, I could probably outwork him. You know what I mean? And then he came in really good shape, came in fast, and he just caught me right off the jump. So, learn a lesson for me. I'd never underestimate your opponent because we've seen how well he's done since then. So it's nothing to be ashamed
Yeah.
of, but it's definitely something I'm not even striving for the belt. I just want to win fights so I can fight him again and see if I can make that right. You know what I mean?
Well, I watched your first fight. I forgot the opponent's name, but y'all were in the smaller ring. It
Yeah.
looked like the small ring was really fitting for you.
Yeah, it's like fighting in a phone booth. There's really nowhere to run. You know what I mean? Yeah, and plus he was a cruiserweight going up to heavyweight.
Okay.
Nice
Okay.
kid. I liked him a lot, but I think he just was it was just a mismatch. I think
Yeah.
I would like. I think me and Costa is a more realistic fight to see where I'm really at. If I can get past him, then I know okay I can keep doing this. If I lose to him, then maybe it's time to hang him up. So I think Costa's a really good goal line post for me to see where I need to be and see if this is something I should keep doing. And if I get past him, I think we're gonna be off and running. You know what I mean?
Well, how much do you know about Costa? I was looking into him. He's had some really tough fights.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. He's southpaw, but I mean he doesn't use his jab a lot, which is usually pretty
Okay.
deadly for a southpaw. That usually the jab is what causes a lot of problems. And I have a habit of circling to the power hand, which has always been kind of
Okay.
my Achilles heel. But obviously with the southpaw, you want to do that. So for me, it's one. I've always done good against southpaws, so I'm not too worried about him. I know he doesn't have a
Okay.
lot of knockout power, but he's durable. So no, it's a great fight. I've always been one. If you watch my MMA fights, I usually drag people in deep water, so I'm not afraid to go the distance. You know what I mean? So as long as I don't get cut or nothing like that, and he's a smaller heavyweight, so we're probably just gonna take this into the later rounds. I mean, I'm gonna try to knock him out, but I'm more than willing to take it all five if I have to.
So, is there anything from your last fight that you take from that and into this fight, or is it just a whole new thing?
No, I mean, there's definitely things you can learn because I said this is a newer sport for me. So learning, you have a lot more dexterity through hands. As far as how dangerous those punches are, I think I didn't get hit by
Yeah.
somebody that could really, really punch. And then when Parker hit me, I was like, all right, we can't be getting hit because usually I'll take a punch to give a punch. With the
Yeah.
boxing gloves and MMA gloves, I'm like, it hurt, but I'll just walk through it. You know what I mean? But when you get hit
Yeah.
with a bare knuckle, I think the first punch he hit me with cut me open, and I was like, "Oh, that's all bad, dude." So I think just being a little more aware that you can't be getting hit. It's better to counter or come in hard and land first, but you can't sit there and go one for one because it only takes one punch to knock us out, as you saw. And I don't even think I got knocked out that fight. I just got dropped twice, and I got back up, and he waved it off. I couldn't get mad at him, like, hey, he got me, but I thought I was still in the fight, but I'm not gonna be a crybaby and whine about it. I got dropped. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah, as a fan, I will say sometimes the refs be calling stuff a little too early with fights. You know, when it's a doctor stoppage, it's one thing, but sometimes the refs do like, you know, call it off when guys ain't even wobbling or nothing. And I think in this sport, sometimes guys mess themselves up because they try to get up so fast. They don't wait and take that full 8 and then get up. And you'll see a lot of guys just jump straight up. You know, I don't know if that's just a an ego thing. Like I got to get up quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think that's something you learn. You learn. I think a lot of the pro boxers you see, you seen Tyson Fury go down. He's gonna take his time and get up right before they eat. So I think that's something you learn as you get more experience in the fight game. Take your time, get up. Just make sure you get up before the end of the count. Because I think if you get up too fast, you're still kind of goofy, like I was in the last fight.
Yeah.
And you do that awkward step, and they're like, yeah, that's all bad. So better to get your bearings for a second and then get back in there so you can actually go back and make a statement.
So, like you said, this is a new sport still. It's not even year 10, I don't think. When you come in here, it's new for you. What things do you feel like you might need to still improve on?
I mean, just my power. I've always been kind of like I use my hands to set up my shots, so I never really committed on my punches. So I think what I've been
Mhm.
working on lately is pivoting. To really put my weight into my punches. Using more setups. So I mean, I can always work on my combinations, throwing more than one or two punches, throwing 5 or 6 punches because a lot of heavyweights just throw one big power punch and then they'll back away. But like you saw when Parker fought me, he threw it 3 or 4 in a row. So
Yeah.
for me, it's just throwing quality combinations that are gonna land. Because if one doesn't land, one of those other three will land. So I think it's just about going out there and being productive and not sitting there waiting for that magic punch to land.
Yeah, I notice a lot of guys could be just headhunters. I was interviewing somebody else on this fight card and he was just talking about, being a pure boxer, just working the body and the head. Um what type of fighter would you say you are? A headhunter or you gotta work the body and the head?
I mean, it depends on what the guy gives me. It depends on
Okay.
because you can tell when you're fighting somebody what level they are. You know what I mean? There's levels to this game. And you can tell like if somebody the hands are low, whether they're not really, they don't really know how to throw their punches right. You can pretty much do whatever you want. But it gets. I mean, with bare knuckle, it's probably better to go for the face. To be honest with you.
Mhm.
But if you're not having success, then the body's there too, and going for that liver or just going for that floating rib that could work for you. So it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of you kind of got to see who you're fighting and see what's going to work. Watch the video and be like, okay, that liver shot's going to work there, or maybe that left hook and step off and get an angle. So every fight's a little different. I think as I've gotten older, I've started to realize that, watch film, see what's going to work, and not just go out there and hope for the best. Make my job work smarter, not harder, as they say, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's one of my favorite sayings. It's definitely one of my favorite sayings. Yo, when y'all are in the weigh-in, can you ever tell in a guy's eyes like that he's scared or that he doesn't really want to fight you?
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah, when you fight somebody that's tough, you can tell like, all right, this guy he has experience. He knows he's going to bring it. So it's going to be a fight. You can tell. You look at some guys and you can just tell. I don't know if it's you can almost smell the fear, or they're not
Mhm.
not somebody scared of me. It's a nerve-wracking environment to be in a fight. You know,
Yeah,
unless you've been doing it for years, your adrenaline's spiking, your heart's pounding. So even if you're good shape, you have to be able to push through that adrenaline dump. you know. So I think the more you fought, I've been fighting since 2007, so it's nothing new for me. You know what I mean? And I've had plenty of wins and plenty of losses, and I'm not really afraid of anybody. So for me, I really don't for the weigh-ins. I just go out there, look them in the face, and I don't care. You know what I mean? Win or lose, I'm gonna come fight you, so you're gonna have to come handle your business. You know, so hopefully they feel the same way, and I'm not out there trying to scare nobody. Like I'm coming after you. I don't care if you're scared or not. You know what I mean?
Well, didn't you say you work in a prison?
I do. Yeah, I'm a sergeant. I used to work in Lancaster as an officer, and then I
Uh-huh.
promoted to Susanville, California, about an hour west of Reno. And so that's why I've been training up here. It's high altitude and in a boxing town, so it kind of worked out. But yeah, it's stressful, man. I deal with the worst at level 4. You know, I work in the
Wow.
RE2, which is like the prison inside the prison. So I work with the
Yeah,
guys that are still messing up while in prison, and they stab each other, and
man.
we see a lot of people die, and it's a rough job, but I unfortunately enjoy it because I just like the chaos, you know.
Are you probably one of the more well-trained fighters at your prison?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's just my ego, but I don't think there's anybody there to kick my ass. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's somebody walking around that probably could, but in my mind, nobody. Even guys that can't kick my butt, I don't think they can. I think that's just the old tough old school fighter.
How often do you get like the prisoners trying to like I know they try to test the guards and stuff like that. You probably got to be the wrong guy to test up in there.
Yeah, but I mean, you're dealing with guys that are not mentally right. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
sometimes they see
Yeah.
a guy my size and they're like, I wonder if I could take him. So it's more of a challenge for them. So I've been battered more times than I can count, and I've had to dump inmates and do this, but to me it's a job. I don't take it personal. If
Yeah.
I get punched in the face,
Yeah. Yeah.
I see the guy the next day. I'm like, hey, you good now? All right, cool, man. Let's program. You know what I mean? So you
Does
just can't take
doing
it
what you
personal. 'Cause
do make it easier for you to fight like and professionally? Because like you said, you dealing with some of the worst people on the planet locked up behind bars. I would think fighting would be so much easier.
For me, it's an escape, man, because that job can be depressing. Most cops when they retire, they
Oh
live
yeah.
2 to 5 years because all that stress catches up with you. So,
Wow.
but I enjoy it, but definitely the fighting I think is my one escape. My one, you got to have a hobby. And
Yeah.
I have no aspirations of becoming a millionaire. I have no aspirations of becoming the champion. If that road goes that way, I'll be more than happy to do it. But I just like to go out there and get punched in the face and do the same to them. It's really not a whole lot of mystery to it. I just enjoy to compete, and I enjoy to fight, and it's just something that makes me happy.
Do you think right now that bare knuckle is more of a older man sport?
I think right now, I think a lot of guys that are towards the end of the career retiring are giving it a go. Plus, it's fun because whether win or lose, it's probably not going to be a long fight because getting hit with bare
Yeah.
knuckle,
Yeah.
like I was
Yeah.
saying, it don't take much, man. So it's like, well, if it goes good, it's gonna be quick, and if it goes bad, it's gonna be quick, and you know, but unfortunately, sometimes those guys are durable. Man, it goes the whole round. I couldn't imagine doing 5 rounds because you're probably gonna walk out with a few injuries, a few cuts. It's gonna be maybe a broken hand. So there's definitely a lot of risk, but I think as you get older and your knees start to go and your body's starting to hurt, boxing is something that's a little bit more doable in your late 30s, early
Mhm.
40s.
Well, I've heard that all the medical data shows that like bare knuckle is actually safer on the brain long term than boxing, which I think is a plus because boxers do come out like I guess what they call punch drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. And my brother's that way. My brother was number 4 in the WBO back in 2000. He fought Uh, this Cuban guy, I can't even think of his name right now. He got brain damage, and ever since then, he was never the same. A better athlete than me by far. One of because he's 6'5", 280. He has a boxing gym out in Miami, Florida now, just training guys in boxing. But yeah, man, you kind of see how he was before he got brain damage, and it made me a little worried to go into the boxing realm. I think MMA might be a little might be a smarter choice for me.
So you've done MMA, now you're doing bare knuckle. Is there any difference in the cardio for BKFC and the cardio needed for like MMA?
I think so. I think you got to be a little bit more better shape for MMA because you got wrestling, you got jujitsu, you got boxing, you
Okay.
got a lot of different cardio systems going at you. So I mean, it's better to be well rounded and great shape. I think, I mean, you want to be in great shape for bare knuckle because it's going to be quick. It's going to be a sprint. It's 2 minutes. There's not a lot of time to be really messing around.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like doing my quarter mile sprints, taking my minute rest, getting my heart rate down, that helps because sometimes you have to go out there and sling them. You can't go out there and especially like you said in a small ring, there's not a lot of places to hide and catch your
Yeah.
breath. So you better be in at least good enough shape for 2 minutes, which is especially as we get older. I mean, 2 minutes I can hang a heck of a lot better than five. But to be in shape
Yeah.
is always good because it's gonna keep you from getting knocked out too.
And for the small ring, man, I think as a fan, I think most fans prefer the small ring because I think it just
That's
gives
true to
you
do.
so much better fights.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not gonna have guys running away, guys sitting behind the jab.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have guys, just sitting there trying to block. I mean, there's really nowhere to go. You're gonna have to sling them. You're gonna have to kind of get out of your comfort zone, and obviously, it makes it a lot more exciting, a little more dangerous for us. But I mean, if you're in there to fight,
Yeah.
what does it matter? We're professional. We do our job, no matter the size of the ring.
Yeah, because they got like this 72-hour marathon going on Fubo Sports at bare knuckle. Like I think it's BKFC 60 to like 77. And I was watching one of the fights, and the guys were just lazy jabbing the whole time, and nobody threw a punch like the whole first round. Damn near, you hear Dave Feldman, somebody punch somebody, throw some punches. I'm like, yeah, this is getting out of hand right here, man. Like y'all got to do something, yo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it. It's scary to get, like I said, getting hit with bare knuckle ain't no fun, man. But you also, you have to take chances. You can't be sitting behind the jab,
Yeah,
and but the weird thing about this organization, BKFC, is you got different skill levels that are kind of drastic. You get some guys that are big hitters, some guys that are real technical boxers. So it's really,
hmm,
boxing. Everybody's gonna be usually pretty good. They're all gonna be playing the same
yeah,
game. And here, it's kind of like you don't really know what level you're getting. You might get some guy that's 0-0, and this guy's gonna come sling them. So it's kind of a dangerous sport because you really don't know who you're fighting yet. So you know, the bigger ring, I could see it as far as sitting behind that jab might be a smart move, but it's just not good for the fans.
yeah. You got guys like Esteban Rodriguez. That guy, as soon as the bell rings, he is trying to tear your head off.
No, I
It's
hear.
crazy. How do you prepare for something like a guy like that when you just know he's just trying to tear your head off as soon as the bell rings?
I would think you just time up, get him caught up, get him break up, time up again, kind of because he's gonna have that first round nervous energy. He's one of those guys that comes
Hmm.
out kind of balls to the wall. So I probably just tie him up, kind of get him frustrated and slow him down. And then once you feel like you kind of slowed him down, but then you can start picking him apart. 'Cause I think if you just go after him when he's coming like that, you're kind of just like whoever lands first. And he seems like he's pretty efficient at that.
So everything goes according to plan in this fight. What does a perfect victory look like for you?
I've kind of seen him. I've seen some of his previous fights. I mean, he doesn't like getting hit hard, so I think if I can, get past that jab hand and throw some right hands, I could drop him and knock him out. That's always the plan. I want to go out there and knock him out. If he's as durable as he's been in the past, then I might have to switch things up. You know, uh, by usually throwing that right hand, that left hook, making sure I'm circling and keeping my distance from him because I know he has a little sneaky uppercut. He throws a loopy left
Okay.
hook. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I mean he's not the greatest boxer. He's just a tough dude. You know what I mean? I think he's somebody I could definitely knock out. So
Yeah.
I'm not looking past him though. I know if he's one of those guys. I think if he gets a couple good shots on me, he'll get confidence and it'll be a tougher fight. I think if I go in there and put the pressure on him early, it'll kind of discourage him, and hopefully that he'll be looking for a way out. You know what I mean?
I was looking up so I mean you're almost the same height.
Yeah, I think I'm
He's a pretty
6'3", he's
stock
6'2".
yeah, he's a pretty stocky dude too. It don't even look like he was that tall just watching him in the ring. I know he's had some tough fights. He's fought Gustavo from BKB, and he's fought the Cuban Mike Tyson Perdomo,
Yeah.
which I don't. No disrespect to nobody in the heavyweight division. I don't think anybody's gonna beat that guy anytime soon.
No, he's a tough kid, man. He's he's got great movement and good power. So he's definitely something that you definitely have to watch a lot of film and see where what's going to work on him. You can't go in there and just hope for the best. He's somebody you're going to have a game plan for. And I think you saw in that one fight. I forgot how he was fighting that white guy. I forget that guy. That heavyweight from Denver.
Corey Willis.
Oh yeah, see, he was starting to gas out a little bit in that third. So I think if
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
drag him in deep water, you might have a chance because he might get sloppy. I think the first two rounds he's coming at you. You better be defensive and counterpunch, and then I think in the third and fourth round you might have a chance to get him. So food for thought.
Yeah, Corey said the same thing when I interviewed him that he was gassing out towards the end because he's never been past the first round until he fought Corey. So I said for Corey, even if he didn't win the fight, if he gets past the first round, that's a win for him in BKFC.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, yeah, you could look at it that way, but I mean, it's sad because I think he was showing us a lot of his weaknesses, and you could tell that Perdomo was frustrated after the fight. You could tell he was
Yeah.
making excuses, but I think he's somebody you just got to weather the storm. Right? I think he's definitely a beatable guy, but it's definitely going to be a
Oh,
tough fight, and you're not going to go smoke that kid. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, isn't everybody beatable by somebody?
Well, especially in bare knuckle, because I don't care
Yeah.
how good he is, you clip him on the chin, he's still human. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's definitely a beatable kid, but he's
Uh,
definitely tough, and it's definitely not going to be a fun night. Even if you win, it's probably going to suck.
are you in a guy that's into calling fighters out? I don't feel like you are.
No, like I said, I just enjoy fighting, man. As far as like doing the chirping and talking, it's never really been my strong suit. I wish it was.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, we're products, and we got to sell ourselves, sell the company. I get it,
Yeah.
but I'm 42, man. I mean, how much time I got left? You know what I mean? So I'm 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 a professional. Like you tell me to fight, I'm gonna make weight. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna fight. I'm not gonna make excuses. I'm not gonna back out. As far as like chirping and everything. I mean, if the guy's being disrespectful, I'll say something back. But I'm a father. I'm a peace officer. I mean, I have respect is like all we have. That's our currency there. So as long as I'm not being disrespected, you ain't gonna hear nothing out of me. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm just one of those guys.
You got Arlovsky, man. He's like 47, man. I mean, I think when guys, even at 42, depending on how long you want to fight, still, I mean, you probably could still fight another half a decade in this sport.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? I think with the job I do and everything, it's definitely taking a toll because sometimes I work at 16-hour shifts and then I got to go to
Oh,
the gym, do my cardio, make sure I make weight, and then then you go on my days off, which I want to relax. I'm at the gym sparring, so it takes a toll because I also have to be a father,
yeah,
and maybe if I start making the money I would like to make, it would make more sense,
yeah.
but I make good money doing my job. I don't have to fight. So I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, if it makes sense, I'll keep fighting. As long as I enjoy doing it, and it still brings me, uh, some kind of accomplishment in my life, I'll keep fighting.
What were some of the fights you were supposed to have that got canceled?
Oh, I was supposed to fight some kid. I don't even remember the kid's name in November at the last show they had down there in Palm Desert, and he
Okay.
pulled out the day before Wans. Whatever, man. What I think it is they have this picture of me on the website where I'm 40 pounds heavier, and I
Yeah,
look pretty soft, right?
yeah,
And now I'm 255, and I'm in pretty dang good shape.
yeah.
And they see me. I think they saw a video of me, and he was like, "Yeah, I ain't fighting that dude. That's not who that's to fight." And then I went to Connecticut December 20th at the Mohegan Sun, and I was
Uh-huh.
supposed to fight some dude over there, and I think he saw me, and he was like, "Nope," you know. So they keep thinking they're fighting the fat dude in the picture, and I come in shape, and they're just like, "Whoa, what's going on?" You know. So, but and for me that's baffling because I would never turn on a fight, even if I was getting my
Yeah.
ass kicked. I'm like, well, we're just gonna have to get it done. You know what I mean?
So, I mean, it seems common that guys are pulling out of fights. Every fight card is half of it injuries and other half just guys are just second guessing.
No, because I know there's a lot of medicals to be done, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So there's always ways to get out of it without directly saying I'm not going to fight this guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're professionals. I mean, that's stuff that should be getting done. Even though I have blood work tomorrow, so who am I to talk, right?
Yeah.
But that's something that you have to get done. Because I don't think if you can't do the basics, I mean, that's not somebody that I think a promotion should really be investing into. That's one thing they can count on me for is like I'm always going to get the stuff done. I'm always going to make weight, and I'm going to show up and fight.
Well, is there any truth to like the California commission is like tougher and stuff? Because like Nate Maness had to pull out the main event for this fight card that you're on.
Yeah, I mean, California is and every aspect of this place is regulations. Like,
Regulated, yeah.
yeah, it's regulated to death. California, God bless it. I mean, not what it used to be. You know what I mean? So, but I get it. At the end of the day, they're trying to protect the fighters. You can't get mad at them
Yeah.
for that. So, I mean, it's kind of a double edged sword. It's like sometimes it feels like it's too much, but then it's like, yeah, they're trying to help the fighters and make sure that their brain's good. They don't have any bloodborne pathogens. So you can't really get mad about it. It sucks, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, and I know it's gotta be tough for the guys that gotta come in and replace a guy like that. Cause like you got Larimore about to replace Nate Maness, because I guess it was something with his back that, you know, they had problems for years. But after he had to pull out, I guess he decided he was gonna retire because of it,
Oh
and
damn,
then
yeah.
so that kind of sucks. And then you got Larimore. I mean, he got to come in on short notice against Jamel Herring, a former Marine and boxer. Like I
He,
just
he
think
was a
it's got
champion,
to be.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
champion. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's got to be tough for a cat like Larimore. I mean, Larimore's tough, but
Okay.
like you got to come in last minute. I never really see those guys win when you come in last minute.
I mean, it depends on the guy. Some guys stay in
Yeah,
shape all year
it's
round.
rare. It's very
Yeah.
rare though.
Yeah, but a lot of times you're doing it to help the promotion out. You're doing,
Yeah.
you're going to catch a butt whooping, but you're hoping that, especially at bare knuckle, it's like I got a puncher's chance. I know how to box, so hopefully I can catch him being lazy or overconfident and crack him and you know you know pull out a win.
Yeah, and I think like as hard as it is for y'all guys to get fights all the time, because you gotta wait for them to come to California all the time or close to you. I guess I could see with Larimore, he's just gonna. I mean, for him, I would definitely take it too. It could
Yeah.
be your only opportunity for a title shot. Like you said, if you're that great of a fighter, you're gonna stay in shape 24/7, stay ready 24/7. I think in this sport, like you gotta really be about your game plan. It seems like because you don't got a lot to go off of all these fighters. Sometimes this guy making a debut, you don't know what he's gonna do in bare knuckle.
No, I agree. That's kind of what I was talking about before. You got a lot of these 0-0 guys that are really studs, but they just don't have any film on them. Like the guy was supposed to fight in November. I didn't have. I think I had one fight from like 15 years ago when he was a kid. Fighting an MMA fight, and that's all I had. So I was like, well, I just gotta go in there and hope for the best, because there's no film to go off of. So I just gotta make. And all you can do at that point is go over your basics, make sure that all your fundamentals are good and that your hands are up and you go out there and usually the first minute you're going to see what he has and then you're okay, you're going to have to work on the fly, as they say.
Well, like I said, I was watching the fight earlier. I like what I seen. I like what I seen in the Parker Porter one too. Parker's a tough. I mean, he's a tough guy. He's climbing the ranks. I like your chances this one. I mean, I think this is gonna be a really good fight. Heavyweights, y'all some of the best fights, anyways.
Yeah, we sling them, dude. So I mean,
Yeah,
you know, well, what sucks though, because you can lose to a guy you probably should beat. Because I mean, but that's the fun of it. You know, you go out there. Like I said, I'm not afraid to win or lose. I just go out there and compete and do the best I can. And whatever happens, happens. He's after watching video though, he's definitely somebody I think I could beat. You know, I have no ill will towards him, and I have no doubt that I'll go in there as long as I perform the way I think I've been doing in training. I'll go on and beat this kid. You know.
that's what's up. That's what's up,
Yeah.
man. So your fight camp's been going really good.
Yeah, because before I was just hitting mitts and running, and I'd maybe get to spar once a month, and now I've been sparring twice a week because Susanville
Okay.
is kind of a boxing town, which is kind of I didn't even realize it was, so it kind of was a blessing in disguise. So I got a lot of heavyweights up here. So I even have one professional southpaw in the room, so I've been able to work with a southpaw this whole camp. So it's been awesome because usually I don't have those kind of looks. I just kind of okay, I'm gonna have to do this, work the bag for my southpaw stuff. I have him go in there spar me for 5 rounds, and I'm working with a southpaw the whole time. So as far as getting a look and getting a mimic fight, I couldn't ask for a better setup this time. And my weights, I'm gonna be probably coming in about 255. So I'm gonna be a little bit lighter, and I feel good, especially for an old man. I like you said, I could go to 47 if I keep my shape this way. You know.
Houston Alexander fought till 50 in bare knuckle. He was undefeated, and they wouldn't even let him fight no more.
Uh, hey, sometimes you gotta know when to call it, though, man. You're 50 years old, go and enjoy your life at that point. Come on now. But I get that. There's
Yeah,
guys that are older that fight too, so it's all person to person.
Foreman won the belt at 50 something.
Yeah, so it's not impossible, but most times they're gonna be freaks in nature.
Yeah. I don't think you should let a guy go out undefeated. They should at least get him one more fight.
Let them catch one before you don't want to leave him on a loss though. Come on, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I
if you
mean, I've interviewed him a few times. He's kind of upset about it still, because they didn't
okay.
really. He felt like they kind of just didn't give him a real reason, and he know the reason though, man. It's once you get to a certain age, they're definitely trying to protect you from yourself.
Yeah, and I get it. He's probably like me. He just likes to compete, and there's probably better things I could be doing in my life. But for me, I've been wrestling since I was a baby. Competing is all I know. So to not do it anymore was really depressing, man. Like I said before, they called me. I was depressed. I just felt like, I'm just gonna work in a 9 to 5 when you fought all your life. It was like, man, I don't want to do this forever. But at least fighting, okay. At least I got a taste of what I used to do. It
Yeah.
gives me something to look forward to. Something to get up and train for. Something you get with. Plus, I like being around fighters, just picking their brains, learning new things. It's just something that brings me joy.
Are you a fan of it too? Do you watch a lot of the fight cards?
Yeah, I do. I've been watching them more lately since I joined. I didn't watch a lot of UFC when I was a fighter, which I actually didn't like watching UFC. I don't know. Maybe it's because I used to get angsty when I would watch guys fight. I'd be kind of like,
Uh
how
huh.
you, as a competitor, you start getting hyped up, want to start fighting. And so I didn't really like the way it made me feel. So I wouldn't watch a lot of fights. And I've always been bad about watching film of my opponents because like I feel like I always like to stay calm. And I feel like I start getting hyped up. But this camp after the loss to Parker, I was like, all right, I need to just deal with it and watch film and make sure I don't mess up twice.
So you didn't watch no film on Parker before you fought him?
No, not really. I watched like John Jones, but that was like a 30-second fight. It wasn't even too long. And then his other fight against, I think he fought Tafa, the one we got knocked out with an uppercut.
Hmm.
So I think I underestimated him for sure. I thought, okay, he got knocked out with that. I'll go in there and just I'm gonna drop this dude. And he went in there and cracked my ass. And sorry if I cuss, I apologize. And
No, you good.
okay, and then he humbled me, and I talked to him. I think when I went up in December, I talked to him. Nice guy, family man. So I got nothing but respect for him. He did his job, but I would like to win a couple fights and get that fight back. So I think he'd be more than willing to do it. I know he's looking for that belt, but if I can chase him after he gets it or before he gets it, I'd like to meet up with him again.
Yeah, I've heard some fighters say that they just let their um trainers and stuff watch the footage and the film on the guys and just trust them. I almost feel like it should be both. Like, like in basketball where a coach sits down with a player and actually both watch the footage, or it's separate, or they can separately watch it. But I don't know. I think as a fighter, you probably should watch some film on your opponent, I would think.
Yeah, because like you might see stuff that the coach doesn't even see, because
Yeah.
my coach will watch the same video I watch and be like, oh yeah, he does this, and I was like, oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, so this is gonna work. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, great. So sometimes having two different brains thinking in two different ways can set your game plan to even be more solid. So you're not wrong. I think you watching it's just going over that initial fear of having to watch your opponent and like, it's like, especially if they do really well, you're like, well, shit, I don't want to get hit with that. You know what I mean? So, but you have to push back. You have to be a man, watch the video, and be a professional and be ready to go.
Now, how anxious do you get, like right, before you about to come out to the fight?
I think everybody gets anxious. I think that's if you're not nervous, you're probably underestimating your opponent, and you're probably gonna be in for a rude awakening. I think the nerves. I mean, you're going to fight somebody. You're about to get punched in the face. You better. It definitely like, here we go. But you just have to turn that animal on for a second and go out there and handle business. And I think once you get cracked once, it's like, oh, cool, we're here. So I think it's all nervous until you get punched once, or you hit them, and then after that, you just kind of get that tunnel vision, and everything kind of
Uh-huh.
fades away. You know what I mean? So I think before that, yeah, you're nervous in the back, but you show up. I've seen guys back there crying, wanting to go see their. I mean, I want to go see my kids. I don't even want to. Why did I sign up for this? Like they've been going through all kinds of emotions back there, dude, and they start making you nervous because you're like, hey, bro, I need you to relax, bro. You know. I'm nervous too, but I'm being a man about it and trying to at least hide it. So, but I think the more you fight, the more frequent you are, the easier it gets. To be honest with you.
Wh-
You know.
What about being in front of the big crowd, like big crowds? I mean, does it, especially you're the home guy, so everybody's gonna be booing your opponent. They're
No,
gonna
not
be
really,
wanting
because
you to win.
I think he's from San Diego, so I think we're both Cali
Oh, is
guys.
he? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I think
Okay.
I think it's a fair matchup either way. He's getting the South, I'm
Okay.
getting the North. So yeah, no, I think like I said before, I think once you get in there and you get cracked, it's just you and him, dude. All those people just
Yeah.
fade away. Just fade away. I think, yeah, walking out there and seeing everybody and being like, oh shit, that's a lot of people, dude. You're nervous and you get there, they do the introductions and you're looking around. You're like, oh man, the camera's in your face. And then, like I said, once you go out there, test gloves and crack, it's like, okay, yeah, everybody else is just that tunnel vision sets in, and it's just you and that dude.
Man. Well, I don't want to take up all your time, man. I know you got a busy schedule. You say you work at them 16 hours. That's crazy. That's why I got so much respect for you fighters. Y'all usually
Appreciate it.
work regular jobs. Y'all put all the time in your jobs. A lot of y'all got family. You got to give time to your family. You still got to find time to stay in shape, and not even
Yeah.
just stay in shape. You got to work on your skill set. You can't just be a big cock diesel guy in the ring. You got to be able to fight too.
No, for sure, especially because you can see it slowly getting better, and these fighters are getting more talented. So it's just like kind of like when the UFC started, there was kind of like a free for all, and then they slowly got more and more pretty solid, and so BKFC is just starting, I think, turn that corner where they're getting guys that are solid.
Yeah, I agree. I think every weight class has really good names. You look at all the guys ranked, they're all really good names, seem like really good fighters. I would like them to focus some more on the homegrown guys as well. Seems like the UFC guys get the seniority, with a lot of things, but that's understandable because, I mean, UFC is kind of the gold standard outside of boxing for everything else, combat sports, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know. The Netflix show yesterday was kind of cool to watch. It was kind of, it's something they definitely need to flush it out a little bit, but it was definitely something because the UFC. I don't know lately. I don't know if they've been doing all these super fights, and I've kind of lost a lot of interest in it. Dude. So I think they need to either change the way they structure it, and I don't know. Maybe I'm old and biased about it, But I don't feel like it has the same allure that it used to have when I was a little bit younger. You know?
It probably don't. And with bare knuckle coming up, it's gonna have a tough time. Bare knuckle is more exciting than UFC. I don't care what anybody
Uh,
says.
100%. Yeah.
It,
Because
it
people,
just
even
is.
in the even in UFC, people want to see people get knocked out, right? I mean, the kicks and everything are
Yeah,
cool,
yeah,
submissions are cool, but I mean, at the end of the day, people want to see people sit there and bang, kind of like Max Holloway and Gaethje going at it. I mean, that's pretty much
yeah,
BKFC with gloves on, you know. So you're not wrong, yeah.
yeah. Before we let you go, any sponsors that you might want to shout out, or your coaches or anything?
Just Mark Rosales. He's my only coach coming up. My other coach is unfortunately getting married, so I'm only gonna have one quarter man.
Okay.
As far as sponsors, I didn't get any, man. Like I said, I just do it for the. I'm not
Oh
trying to make
man.
money. I'm not trying to make money. I'm not trying to, which I probably should, but like I said, I'm just old. I work so much. I don't have time to even network and look for things, dude. So I just
Yeah.
show up. I get my little check they give me, and I go back to work, dude. There's really not a lot to it, dude. So just to thank my wife for putting up with my annoyingness, and you know. I know she hates it, man. My wife's like, I can't believe you're still doing this, but she understands that I love it. So it's a little give and take, you
Man,
know.
dang, that's crazy. Yeah. I bet a lot of family members for a lot of people probably think bare knuckle's crazy because I mean Australia didn't even want to let bare knuckle go through because they said it was brutal at first.
Yeah, but I think that's every new sport. You know, UFC went through that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think people watch it and the data comes out like you were talking about, and they're like, I guess we can make it slide. And at the end of the day, when they're making money and everybody's making money, that's all that really matters. So you can, as long as the data is not showing people are actually dying, then it all makes sense. You know.
Well, that's the thing. Back in the days, the original gladiators, I mean, they were chopping off heads and people were just like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a time I should have been born in, man. That's like you told my wife, either a Viking or a gladiator, you know. But I'm in 2026, living in a weird world, dude. But we're gonna make it work. And on May 22nd, gonna have a great fight for these guys, you know.
Well, you a modern day gladiator, man, and
And I
that's enough
appreciate
for
it.
me, man. Yep.
All right, but I
Well,
really
I
appreciate your
appreciate you
time.
taking time out. Yeah, you come back on anytime, man. You're a friend of the show. We're gonna clip up some
Awesome.
clips and make sure we promote you before the fight.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you. It was great talking to you. You seem like a great dude. All right.
Yep, you too,
I'm
man. Enjoy your day.
oh man. I'm an old man. What, did I just click out of this thing?
All right. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Peace. Well, there you have it. Chase Gormley will be fighting BKFC 89 Palm Desert. Of course, the main card is Herring versus Larimore now. Nate Maness had to back out. I guess the commission didn't clear him because of some, I guess, previous injuries through the years. But I still think that's a really good fight. Jamel Herring versus Michael Larimore. Larimore's 3-1. Definitely going to be a tough opponent. And you got Chase versus Levi Costa is actually the featured fight. He's the featured fight of the night. And Chase is looking to go to 2-1. BKFC, you got Cody Vital versus Jomi Escoboza. Well, excuse me. Vitals are gonna go to 4-1. Jomi looking to go to 11-2. Man, he got a lot of fights in his belt. You got David Diaz versus Anthony Sanchez. Diaz is 3-1-1, looking to go to 4-1. Daniel Alvarez versus Jared Lennon. Daniel's looking to go to 3-2. Lennon is 1-1. Eric Soto versus Pernell Stevens. Evgeny Cardinal versus Eric Lopez. Cardinal is looking to go to 6-3. He's 5-3 right now. Lopez is 3-4. You got Amon Strauss Williams, who I just interviewed recently. He's 2-0, fighting 1-0 Cody Curry. He's looking to go to 3-0. And I definitely like his chances. He looks really, really good, in my opinion. You got my guy Ryo Peterson. I interviewed him a while back too. He's fighting Daniel Keepers. Wait, I think that's a new opponent because I think he had a different opponent before. Man, hold on. Let me pull this up. Look like he got a new opponent. I could have sworn because I post all the verses fight cards, like the who you got. Let me go to Ryan's account and look at the messages, because if I tagged him in it, it should have sent him the actual image. Yeah, he was supposed to fight Darren Whitney. I guess Darren Whitney had to back out. So now you got Daniel Keepers instead. Not familiar with him. There's no picture, and it looks like he's making a debut. Probably not going to be good for him. We also got my guy Keith the Officer Richardson. I interviewed him a little while back. Go check the interview out. He's fighting Devin Schwann, and that's a cruiserweight on the undercard. Steven Sainsbury versus Ethan Trout, and you got Ricardo Talavera Jr. versus Victor Flor. And this fight card is next Friday. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a good card, though. A few guys on here that I've interviewed. Interested to see what goes on with this bantamweight. I know Reber is going to want the winner of this fight. I think Reber might have to fight Quentin Gaskins, and the winner of that fight the winner of this fight. I just hope we don't get another interim fight soon. This is we have back-to-back interim fights for this bantamweight title, which has kind of got the weight class in a weird position right now, since Joy Boy Justin Ibarola won the belt, and he basically stepped down from being champ. So that moved him to, instead of being a champ, he went back down to number one rankings, and that moved everybody down a slot. Reber went down from 1 to 2. Richardson went from 2 to 3. Nate Maness went from 3 to 4. And then Bradley Taylor went from 4 to 5. And we ain't seen nothing from Keith Richardson in a while. I know he's trying to get a shot back at his title. If Larimore wins, I mean, Richardson beat Larimore. I would think that he feels like he could win that fight. I mean, he won with a first round KO, but he also got KO'd next fight by the Usmanov. And Usmanov actually in the BKB now. He might have should have stuck around a little bit longer and try to get a shot at the bantam. But yeah, so Reber might get his shot a lot sooner than he thinks. He might have to fight one more fight, and then you might get another title shot with whoever wins between Jamel Herring and Larimore, which I'm really not sure who I think is going to win that. Jamel Herring only has one bare knuckle fight, and I watched it. I mean, he didn't look like overwhelmingly like he won that fight, in my opinion. I mean, it was a unanimous decision, but it was 5 rounds with Matt Guyman. Matt Guyman is tough as nails. So, I don't know, man. I don't know who's going to win. And I normally, and that's the thing, I don't try to pick sides at all, because I might interview the guys later. Let's see who we got tune in. We also got Luke Bradsfield, appreciate you. Guys, Crush, appreciate you. Liam Kirby, Marty Barnes, Jordan Ben Marshall 101, Knockout Radio, The Real Little Guzzy, Boxer Tricks. He said, believe in the field has more nerves during a bare knuckle to a normal boxing match. How do you feel? Shouts out to my guy Keith Officer Richardson, and the Vansky Big Ben. Appreciate you. I wish my Instagram comments would show up on my StreamYard. StreamYard only runs my Facebook and my YouTube comments into my StreamYard, and you gotta kind of go back and forth to see the Instagram. But yeah. So let's see what other fight cards we got coming up still. This Friday, we got Palm Desert, so make sure y'all tune in for that 9 p.m. Eastern. You still got BKFC 90 Birmingham, Tyranny versus Franco. Got BKFC Fight Night, Hollywood Lane versus Henry. I heard on the Fight Night ones are the cards that they always use the small rings for, and then the other fight cards are usually the big rings. You still got BKFC Nashville Soto versus De Leon, and you got, oh man, is this the same fight? Well, I feel like this is a different fight. You got Van Camp versus Gregoris Cisneros. That's on the BKFC Hammond Fight Night Hammond card. And they still got Sturgis. They still got Liberty Brawl. You still got BKFC Fight Night Uruguay, which looks like that's going to be big. I heard the president of the country is going to be there. I heard one of the fighters fighting in the card is like freaking famous throughout the whole country. Like everybody in the country knows him. Still got BKFC Serbia. Oh man, that should be a tough fight card. Serbs is some tough motherfuckers. And then you still got BKFC Fight Night Clearwater again as well. Which I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Reber is on that fight card right there, because that's his hometown as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Shouts out to Chase Gormley for taking the time out. And I'm going to definitely tune in and wishing him the best of luck with that fight. I think he'll have a tough opponent. His opponents had some really, really tough fights. I think when you fight Perdomo and Gustavo Trujillo, that's two of the toughest opponents that you could get into the heavyweights division. Gustavo's like BKB's champ for a hot minute, and he was undefeated in BKFC, if I'm not mistaken. He's one of the only guys to beat one of the few guys to beat Lorenzo Hunt as well. And of course you got Perdomo. I mean, he's like 11-0. I don't feel like anybody's gonna beat him. But you know, when you fight a guy like Perdomo, I feel like you can kind of gauge on how good you might be to like lesser or inferior competition. But yeah, this gonna be, hopefully it's gonna be a banger, man. Chase looked good, man, in his last couple fights. Like he said, he's in shape. He's at 250. I like what I see, especially in his debut. He really looked like, you know, he manhandled his opponent. And like he said, his opponent was probably a little undermatched. He did come from cruiserweight up to heavyweight. But hey, that's part of the game, man. Guys are going from one weight to another all the time. I guess it's how you get more fights, is if you willing to work or willing to fight multiple weight classes. Because you know, if you just wait around for one weight class, you might not get a fight. Because BKFC is still growing, and they, you know, I mean, they're doing about 3 or 4 events almost every month, but a lot of it's still, you know, a lot of local based stuff. You know, you're bringing in a lot of local guys and bringing guys usually from out of town to fight those guys as well, you know. But still a lot of good fight cards left. Make sure y'all tune in. Palm Desert, Herring versus Larimore. Make sure y'all hit that like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're gonna get off here. We're gonna clip up some clips. And shouts out to Chase Gormley. Appreciate y'all. Peace, and I'm out.